is all the above, best believe we do it better. I want the fame, the fortune, all the above. I want the checks, the moolah, all the above. From Philadelphia to New York, all the above. Man, tell them other stations they don't do it like us. I want the fame, the fortune, all the above. I want the checks, the moolah, all the above. From Philadelphia to New York, all the above. Man, tell them other stations they don't do it like us.
What's up, guys? It's your girl Angel Marie, and I'm sitting here with my co-host Kevin. And this week we are gonna give you guys a special segment called Wind Down Wednesday.
So, as always, we do our weekly rundown, but for our Wind Down Wednesday edition, we're focusing strictly on entertainment-related people and topics. Everybody knows there's a lot of horrible things going on from coronavirus. We've seen some serious issues with unarmed black men being killed, and we don't want to belittle or trivialize those at all. And those are things we've talked about in the past and we'll continue to talk about. But for the Wind Down Wednesday edition, we're going to focus on entertainment-related news. So for the week of, what week are we? This was May.
I didn't know he was going to ask me that.
May 3rd, we'll tell you right now. For the week of May 3rd, that's what coronavirus does. Everybody's forgetting what days. From the week of May 3rd through May 9th.
So I was right.
You were right. Good for you. Alright, so starting with topic number one, sad news in the world of entertainment. Andre Harrell, the founder of Uptown Records, passed away at the age of 59. Uptown Records is where one of the most influential people in all of hip hop and music, Sean Diddy Combs, got his start as an intern, in fact. And he also, Andre Harrell, signed acts like Guy, which Teddy Riley was a member of Guy. Jodeci, Heavy D, and he signed a young Mary J. Blige. So he was very influential in the late 80s and early 90s in music. So just give us your thoughts on his musical legacy in terms of the people that he's brought out and the influence that he's had through his Uptown Records.
Yeah, I feel like he has a great influence on the community, especially the music industry. And he's like a legend and stamped himself as on an iconic level. And I feel like, honestly, I am more familiar with him because of Diddy. Because obviously, Diddy definitely credited Andre Harrell all the time when it comes to success. When he had Making the Band out, when he talked about his life starting up in the music industry, how he was an intern, and then Andre Harrell gave him the opportunity to launch Bad Boy Records. And then obviously with Mary J. Blige, she gave her credits to him as well. So I feel like I never fully knew if I was walking down the street, I feel like I probably wouldn't even know that was Andre Harrell probably. But because of Mary J. Blige and Diddy always giving him his flowers at that time when they got their credit, I feel like I already knew this man. It was like he was a mystery. I was like, wow, Andre Harrell put a lot of people on, did a lot of great things for the community. So it was just sad to see that he passed away at such a young age because he was only 59. But he definitely made his mark on the world. I feel like it's a long-lasting legacy where people from generations from now will still know who he is.
And one of the things that makes me think about too is for a lot of people who love the music industry, love entertainment, but maybe you can't sing, maybe you're not an accomplished artist in any way, you're not a good rapper or have those kind of skills. You can still be part of this business, part of the industry, and have a huge impact on the business side, and that's actually needed as much as the artist. We talk about how artists often get bad deals and people use them and work them over as far as contracts and them not getting the things that they should get from a financial compensation standpoint. But you could be somebody who can be the business side of things, help these artists, and not only help these artists, but make sure that these deals are fair to the artists and equitable. So there's a way to have an impact in the music industry without actually being an artist. And in fact, sometimes the impact is even greater than an artist has. So
I feel like something like that is a kind of business or career that I would want, because with someone like Andre Harrell or probably I was going to say Teddy Riley, but Teddy Riley is pretty known too, where people are familiar with his face. But I feel like a behind-the-scenes person who still makes an impact on the music industry and who is making great money, I would love that, because it's like you still have your privacy,
right,
but you're also out there with celebrities all the time. You're making a lot of money, but you still have that. You could go to the grocery store if you want to, and no one's going to harass you. Paparazzi isn't going to chase you down. I feel like I would like that balance in the industry.
Yeah, no, so it's definitely something to think about for people who are interested in getting into the industry, but may not be skillful enough to sing, rap, dance, or whatever. So just a thought.
Think smarter, not harder.
On to number 2, more sad news, and this just broke on Saturday, May 9th. But Little Richard, who's one of the founding fathers of rock and roll, died on Saturday. He's one of the most influential people in music history. People often credit Elvis Presley or call him the king of rock and roll. Little Richard always proclaimed that, you know, that's him. Chuck Berry was also one of the original people, but it just seems that it's not just a 2020 thing, but over the last few years, we're losing a lot of icons, a lot of elders, people who have made, paved the way for artists and entertainers of today. So your thoughts on the passing of another legend in this game.
Honestly, this one was sad too, and the fact that they both came back to back was a lot. And 2020 in its own right has just been a roller coaster of a mess. But for Little Richard, I feel like because I am younger, I know Little Richard mainly for his role when he participated on Sesame Street a lot. And then he made cameos on Full House where he played Journey Smollett's uncle, who always was singing at the cookout.
Oh,
and
I forgot
like,
that.
Oh,
he was on Martin too.
Yeah, so it's like I know him mainly for his cameos on things, and obviously his well-known song Tutti Frutti. So I feel, and it's crazy because you know whenever someone passes away, that's when you see a lot of old videos pop up where people are all of a sudden giving them recognition. And it's crazy because one video I actually saw of Little Richard this morning, it was at the Grammys, and he was presenting the Grammy for Best Rock and Roll Artist or something like that. And before he opened up, he was like, and the winner is me. He was like, y'all ain't never giving me no award. He was like, y'all ain't even nominate me. He was like, I should be the one winning this. He was like, I'm the originator. I'm the architect. And I was like, that is sad that man really called people out and said, you didn't give me my flowers when I deserved it. And now that he passed away, I bet you the Grammys is going to probably do something outrageous and extravagant for him. All these other musical award shows is probably going to honor him. And it's sad that people wait until he passed away. Like, he's been throwing it out there that people need to recognize him and thank him for his contribution to music.
Absolutely. No, I mean, the people who he's influenced. I know Elton John's one of the people who said that if it wasn't for Little Richard, he wouldn't have been the artist that he is. And even, I mean, if you look at people like Alicia Keys and John Legend, just Stevie Wonder, artists who are, you know, made their intro into music through the piano. Yeah. He's one of the people who paved the way for that. So you made a very good point though as well about how he's always, you know, been unashamed about saying, hey, I am a pioneer of this. I was one of the founders, if not the founder, and I should be credited as such. And unfortunately, he never truly was, but like many situations,
And he said before too that he's the one who sort of vocally trained Paul McCartney from the Beatles with like a certain kind of like the that he would do. He said he trained a whole bunch of up and coming artists to tailor around his kind of style. So he was like the backbone of music in that, right?
Yeah, the Beatles did a couple covers of some of his songs as well on some of their albums. So yeah, so sad news there as well. But 2020's been a rough one. Number 3, we're not gonna do this too much longer. We've talked about this person a number of times throughout the history of our show. We're coming to the end of this. This actually may be it. But TEKASHI 6ix9ine has released his first song, Goomba, G-O-O-B-A, since being released from prison in April. He went live on Instagram, and he broke the Instagram live record with more than 2 million viewers at its peak. If you remember when he started talking on the stand and snitching on everybody, and we were even saying when he gets out, because we knew he was going to get out for snitching, that he was going to come out and act like nothing happened and continue on with his music career and people would follow him.
Yep.
I mean, what does that say that he can do everything he did, pretend to be something he's not, and then, you know, snitch, however you feel about that, and then come back and 2 million people were interested in what he had to say? I mean, what does that say?
It just says that we're all a joke. That people say things but don't really take any action towards it. Because it's like, if you're constantly calling out different artists or whatever for appropriation or just simply being something that you're not, and you're still supporting them, then what does that say about you? Because you're still enabling them to do whatever that they want. And I honestly feel like 2 million people tune into his live simply because the whole topic around him is just controversial. So they were probably curious to see if maybe he was going to talk about anything, if he was going to call anybody out. And he's known as being a social media troll. So I feel like people just wanted to be tuned in for the entertainment and the comedy of whatever was going to come out of his mouth. But
So then you don't necessarily think it's a reflection of how popular he is at this point, but people are just in the same way that if there's a car accident on the side of the road, you're going to rubberneck and look because you're like, oh,
honestly,
man, what
just
happened?
feel like it's the speculation because you don't know what he's going to say. So I feel like people are nosy. People are very nosy. It's a lot of celebrities that a lot of people don't support, but they still tune in just because they want to know. And I feel like that's the same for him. But I also have a hunch that a good portion of his fan base is probably younger kids, and it could be Caucasian kids. I don't think they care. I don't think a good portion of his target audience or fan base is older African American men and women. I don't think he has a big fan base of like people who are 25 and up who are supporting him. I think it's the younger generation. You know, kids listen to anything.
Right.
So I think that's where it comes from.
The one sad part, well, not the one sad part, but the thing that is really disappointing is he hasn't been humbled in any way. It doesn't look like he's learned his lesson. He's coming out right back where he started, the same things, trolling people. You would think after the experience of facing 40 plus years in prison and possibly, you know, losing his life, that it would humble him. And that's what I think a lot of people were looking for and hoping for. Or I don't know, maybe a lot of people didn't even care. But he's still just as arrogant, still just as brash. And I don't think it lines up for long-term success for him to have not grown as a person, to have not, you know, learned from his mistakes. So we'll see how that works out, but I'm telling you, we are not going to continue to talk about him. I'm not going to say this is the very last time, but it's going to have to be really relevant. But I had to bring it up because it's just like, come on, he broke the record.
And homie even got the approval to shoot a music video in his backyard.
That's
so
crazy.
it's like, and he only got released early because of this whole coronavirus. He would have still been in prison.
Yeah.
So privilege, it's privilege.
There you go. On to number 4. So, John Legend, on a recent appearance on Nick Cannon's radio show, after Nick Cannon suggested that he should have a versus battle, the versus battle everyone's been having on Instagram, with Alicia Keys, John Legend said that he would definitely do it. He is a co-judge on The Voice with Alicia Keys, so obviously they've got a relationship, there's a friendship there. Very similar styles of music. So, when I first, saw this, it made sense that you would line those two up. But the question I have for you is, do you think a piano, but primarily piano-based versus would draw the attention and interest? We know it would draw some interest, or a lot of interest, because it's John Legend and Alicia Keys. Mm-hmm. But is that something you think a lot of people would have interest in to listen to for an hour and a half?
Honestly, not as much, because both of their their catalogs is more calm, chill, sultry, soulful, romantic. It's not a good blend of like some soft, some turn up, where it's like, oh, they made that song.
Yeah, they don't have any like party songs or any parties you want to play at like a block party or a cookout or something.
Exactly.
Like that.
But I do feel like because it's John Legend and Alicia Keys, people will tune in, because at the end of the day, they both have really great music. I feel like if they had mediocre music or like media music where they had a good history of number ones or something and a nice little run and that was it. But I feel like they both are musical geniuses where people would still tune in. I feel like I would tune in because I love their music. But I feel like if that were to happen, I highly feel like Alicia Keys will blow him out the water.
I feel like she's got a better, they're both incredible artists, but she's got a better overall body of work. Mm-hmm. And she might have one or two songs that I think would that are a little more upbeat or so. But he's just, all his stuff is pretty mellow, low-key, romantic love songs. Let me ask you this though.
Yeah.
Do you think that once we get back to some semblance of normalcy, that these will continue? Because a lot of people like them, and I almost think it would be a shame that when we go back to having, you know, life as it was before, however close to that it'll be, that we won't still have artists get paired up and do these on occasion.
I honestly feel like this started a revolution for Timbaland and Swizz Beatz to form a TV show. Because I feel like once things are normalized again, people are just going to take it to a bigger platform where it'll be on VH1 or MTV or something, and they're both facing each other, just playing off their music in front of an audience and then in front of the TV cameras. I would still watch that. I feel like it'll work better because obviously once everything is back to normal, celebrities won't have as much leeway or free time to just be chilling in their crib in the basement or in their studio to battle off somebody. But I feel like if this is a situation where it's brought to a network where they're still getting paid and they can add it to their schedule, oh, I have to go to the studio to do this, it'll still happen.
Yo, I think that's a brilliant idea, and I don't know why it took me here. You actually, you like the Temptations movie, didn't you?
I love it.
Yeah, I knew you loved the Temptations. But I remember there's an old clip, I think it's from, I don't know, I think it was Motown. I think it was the same Motown where Michael Jackson, Motown's 25th anniversary, where Michael Jackson did Billie Jean and debuted the Moonwalk. That same show, which then this gets lost, they actually had the Temptations and the Four Tops on stage together. And they did like a back and forth between all their hits, and it's one of the best performances you'll see. Go look it up if you haven't seen it. Four Tops versus Temptations, Motown 25. But that back and forth between the two, I imagine the show being something like that, and I would definitely tune in for that.
You know I have that DVD, right?
You do?
I do.
You bought it?
I have Motown 25.
Well, I'm about to borrow that.
I'll bring it. He doesn't return items.
Nah, I don't. And number 5, keeping in the theme of the versus battle, on Saturday, and this is being recorded before the battle, but ERYKAH BADU and Jill Scott are having a versus. Another excellent pairing with very comparable artists. So, your thoughts on, is this one you're going to plan on tuning into? Do you have interest?
Honestly, I don't have much interest for me to fully tune in. I feel like if I remember, I'll tune in. But I'm honestly not a huge ERYKAH BADU or Jill Scott fan. I love their music, and no.
Direct all comments towards her, not me.
No. I love their music. I love their music. I don't think that they're horrible artists at all, especially Jilly from Philly. Hey, but
good job cleaning that up.
Yeah, but no, for real, I love their music, but I've never been a neo-soul kind of person. Like if I'm in the house cleaning on a Sunday and I just want like chill vibes, I'll definitely rock out to them. But on a regular day, if I'm creating a playlist, honestly, I wouldn't add them. But I am interested in I feel like I'm more interested in highlights because there's a lot of versus battles that I missed and I would just catch highlights. I honestly feel like that would be one of them if I were to miss it.
Gotcha. So do you think that the neo-soul vibe, similar to Alicia Keys and John Legend, because a lot of their songs are smooth, melodic, do you think that translates well over to an Instagram live battle? Or do you think it's still gonna have the same challenge where it's not like hip hop or R&B where you've got more variety, more upbeat music?
In all honesty, based off of the feedback already from social media and the things that I've seen, people are more excited for ERYKAH and Jill's versus just as much as they were excited for Babyface and Teddy Riley.
Really?
Yeah, and a lot of people are saying, because obviously with the whole TEKASHI 6ix9ine breaking Instagram, people were like, who do you think would top that? And everyone was like, honestly, ERYKAH and Jill Scott will probably top that.
I don't think so.
You know?
You'd have to, Beyonce would have to go live. That's really the only way it's gonna get topped. Beyonce, President Obama, Oprah maybe, I don't know.
But there's Oprah no more, she canceled. Just saying.
That's right, I forget. So yeah, that's the only way I could imagine. I don't even know who you would put up against Beyonce in the verses, but she wouldn't have to. She could just sing a couple songs from the comfort of her home, and I would argue that Instagram that live feed would be
You
10 million
that
plus.
Rihanna needs to go against Beyonce, but I feel like Rihanna doesn't have a big enough catalog.
Rihanna's amazing, and she could compete probably against any other artist, but she's punching above her weight class, trying to go at not that she's going at her, but on a, I mean, come on, Beyonce's got an army.
What about Janet Jackson? Do you think that's fair though?
Janet Jackson was Beyonce in the 90s.
Yeah, so do you
I
think
just feel that
they would go against each other?
Because they're not contemporaries, so it's tough.
Okay, because I was going to say Janet Jackson has a big enough catalog as well to go against Beyonce. Because Beyonce could throw out songs for weeks. Rihanna can't, obviously, because she stopped her music. But, you know.
You know what would never happen? Obviously, because they're both passed away, but wouldn't it be amazing if we could have got Michael Jackson and Prince versus?
Ooh.
That Instagram would blow up. It would get shut down. It would be over. The servers would explode. Could you imagine that?
Wow.
I don't even know if we'd have enough time.
I feel like they both would have been down for it. Prince, I feel like might have given a little pushback, but Michael seemed like he would be the type if you gave him enough oomph or enough what's the word I'm looking for? Convincing. I feel like he probably would have did it if it's for a good cause.
Yeah, Michael would have done it. I think definitely for a good cause. Prince would probably be the one that's harder to convince, but
yeah, Prince was an unbothered king. He didn't want to be around.
Could you imagine that though?
My money is on Michael.
They could probably go on for 2-3 hours, just hit.
That'd be like 2-3 days.
So, to recap this week's Wind Down Wednesday rundown, number 1, Andre Harrell, the founder of Uptown Records, passed away at the age of 59. Also, Little Richard passed away on Saturday as well. Number 3, TEKASHI 6ix9ine, who just won't go away, released his first song, Goomba, and broke the Instagram live record with 2 million viewers. Shame on each and every one of you. Number 4, John Legend said he would be interested in doing a versus battle on Instagram Live with Alicia Keys. And ERYKAH, BADU, and Jill Scott are having their versus battle, which is airing Saturday, May 9th. And we'll see how that goes. So that is this week's special edition, the Wind Down Wednesday rundown. So
here we go.
Cheers.
So, as always, if you guys like what you saw and you would love to see more, let us know by liking our video below. And as always, if there's any topics that we mentioned before through our Wind Down Wednesday rundown or anything that you want to add to the conversation, definitely let us know by commenting below as well in our comment section. And as always, the most important part, if you guys would like to see more videos or just want to watch old videos as well from all of the above, make sure you push that subscribe button. Subscribe. And as always, I'm your girl Angel Marie, and I'm sitting here with my co-host Kevin. See you guys next time.
Cheers.
Wednesdays at 7, Angel Marie and Kevin playing the illest records, bringing us back together. Philly is all season, swimming through any weather, leaving the track bleeding. Way we pull it together, we applying my pressure.